So imagine this scenario. A young woman cuts her hair short so that she can pretend to be a boy and join the army in order to protect her family. Does that sound familiar? It might do, but you haven't heard it told like this through the lens of the Discworld. Hello and welcome to The Book Thing, and my name is Mark, and this is my review for Monstrous Regiment. So Monstrous Regiment is the story of Polly, who is the daughter of an innkeeper in the country of Borogravia. Borogravia is a country on the Discworld that we haven't explored before, but it is a country, a small country that is perpetually in a state of war, has a nasty habit of invading its neighbours and being constantly at war with them. The most recent one is with the neighbouring country of Zoblinia. The issue with Zoblinia is kind of twofold. One is around the border, which many years ago was decided upon as being the river. Unfortunately, every so often the river changes course, which means that something that was in one country is now in another, and you end up having these skirmishes around it. The other is because of the Prince of Zoblinia is technically the next person in line to the throne of Borogravia, which is currently being held by a character known as the Duchess. The Duchess is about 90 years of age and has not been seen in many years, and many suspect that she is in fact dead. But the people of Borogravia revere the Duchess as this almost a deity in their eyes, which is good because the actual deity that they have, that they worship in Borogravia, is a god called Nuggin. And Nuggin is a god who is kind of mental. He is a god that is constantly updating the list of things that they are seen as abominations and should be done away with and removed and are completely prohibited in the country of Borogravia. Apparently the book of Nuggin is the only holy book that's done in a ring binder that has left intentionally blank pages at the end for Nuggin to keep filling in. The list of abominations makes the lives of the people of Borogravia very, very difficult to manage. But one of the things that was seen as an abomination onto Nuggin was the idea of messages flying through the air that aren't prayers to Nuggin, which is a bit of a problem considering the main method of communication around the Discworld now are the semaphore clacks towers. So anytime those clacks towers have been put up anywhere in the vicinity of Borogravia, they have been torn down, which is seen as an act of aggression towards the commercial centre of the Discworld, Ankh-Morpork. As a result, Ankh-Morpork send their duke to Borogravia to try and come to some form of peaceful resolution, but actually in supporting of Prince Heinrich, the Duke of Ankh-Morpork, remember, being the head of the City Watch, Commander Sam Vimes. But Sam Vimes is very much a minor supporting character in this. This is very much the story of Polly Stroke Oliver, who the reason she wants to join up is to go and protect her older but much more gentle and innocent brother Paul, who joined up some time before. She cuts her hair short, she escapes out the window and goes to the next town to find the recruiting party, where she is signed up by Sergeant Jackrum, along with a whole host of other young boys and assorted others, including a troll and a vampire. The propaganda in the country is that the Borogravians are winning, but after joining up, Polly starts to suspect that that might not actually necessarily be the case, and further weight is given to that when it transpires that rather than going into training, they're pretty much going straight for the front lines. By the way, I am rereading the entire Discworld series at the moment. This is number 31, so if you'd like to see any of the other 30 reviews that I've done, please consider checking out my channel. And if you have checked out my channel before and you're not yet subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button. So for the first time in my reread of the Discworld series, I find myself having to tread a little bit carefully in what I say about Monstrous Regiment. This might seem like quite a familiar story, but there are some twists in this that start to come in quite early and actually continue throughout the rest of the book. And I think you'd enjoy it more if you don't know what some of those twists are going in. Suffice to say, it's taken a very popular story concept and things that we've seen in like Mulan and things like that, but actually giving it a very significant twist in the way that it's telling that story. And I don't really want to say any more than that, other than the fact that, yeah, it's bloody good. One of the other things I do love about Monstrous Regiment is that even though Borogravia is a new country that we've never explored before, it does feel like part of the makeup of the Discworld. You know, you've got the influence from Ankh-Morpork. You've got things like the communications network of the Clacks. And because of the interest from Ankh-Morpork around the war, you've got the Ankh-Morpork press reporting on this in the form of William de Worde and Otto from The Truth. So even though The Truth never actually got a sequel itself, the characters from The Truth are now very much part of this world, and I don't think this is the last time that we see William either. All in all, Monstrous Regiment is kind of a joy to read. The satire in it is absolutely fantastic. You've got the satire of war, and in that regard, it kind of out-jingos Jingo. You've got satire of religion, which is right up on a par with what's been done in Small Gods. And you've also got some of the gender politics satire as well, which, you know, we've seen Pratchett do right from the early days, from Equal Rights onwards. But even though it's poking fun at all of these things, it never feels mean-spirited or disrespectful. So, you know, even though the religion of Nuggin is clearly nuts and a contributor to the war, it doesn't ever feel like there's like an analogue in the real world. So he's never sort of poking fun at a particular religion, and it's actually kind of the religion establishment itself as opposed to the people who follow it, because what he's depicted in this is Nugginites who are just trying to get along as best they can. The whole thing is so deftly handled, and with a cast of completely new characters that are an absolute joy from start to finish, and seeing each of them having their own journeys and arcs on this, none of which I'm really going to discuss because it's going to play into what could be considered spoilers. So, but trust me, you've got some wonderful, wonderful characters in there. Monstrous Regiment, it's a 4.5-star read for me, bordering on a 5-star. It's a standalone book, so you can pick it up kind of at any point in your Discworld journey, and yeah, it's another example of this era of Pratchett just being on absolutely top form. So that was my review for Monstrous Regiment. I hope you enjoyed it. The next book that I will be reviewing is the second in the Tiffany Aching books, which is A Hatful of Sky. So I hope you can join me for that one. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and take care.